How's it going, everybody? Today I'm reviewing Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 2, Stormborn. And again, spoilers for this episode. If you've not seen it, go watch the episode, then come back here. So we start things off on a stormy Dragonstone night, similar to the night that Daenerys was born. And basically she's there with her kind of small council. You got Olenna, you got Alaria Sand, you got Tyrion, you got the Sand Snakes, you got everybody there, Varys. And you get to see Dany kind of confront Varys, which is another great way to start off this episode. Really calling back to season 1, how Varys kind of flip-flopped from we didn't really know his allegiances and how he actually backed her brother. It's like, who are you going to back when this happens? So I love that Varys kind of stood up to her a little bit and didn't back down, and they kind of respect each other, and we came to a great understanding just right off the gate there. Then we hear about Melisandre coming to Dragonstone and basically says that actually this thing was actually the princess, that prince or princess that was promised, as of what Missandei's actual translation of it is. So technically Dany now kind of fits into that prophecy, because she was kind of reborn-ish from the flames. I'm still buying into Jon Snow's Azor Ahai reborn, but it opens up another possibility a lot more with having Daenerys kind of fit into that prophecy a little bit more. And of course Tyrion talks about Jon Snow and how they should probably band an alliance together between Jon Snow. He hates the Lannisters as well, and they kind of come to common ground on that. So she sends a letter to him, basically asking him, hey, you gotta come here, bend the knee. They leave that part of the letter, of course, but it's gonna be interesting to see how Jon and Dany interact whenever they do interact, hopefully next episode. But one of my favorite scenes on Dragonstone was Tyrion just breaking down that plan. I just love when Peter Dinklage can get these great moments showing how much of a strategician that Tyrion is, and how that, no, Cersei's going to kind of play up the fact that there's these foreigners coming in, so we need to attack with people from Westeros in King's Landing. Of course, plans kind of go a little awry later in the episode, but it was a great concept of it, and then they're going to get the Unsullied to come around to Casterly Rock and attack there. So that'll be another cool battle to see, the siege of Casterly Rock with the Unsullied. And of course, Lady Olenna's dialogue with Daenerys, kind of talk about how you need to be a dragon. Don't necessarily listen to the Lannisters, don't listen to Tyrion too much. You gotta be you, and I hope she can find a good balancing ground. Don't pull too far one way, but don't pull far to the other way. I hope she can come to a great agreement with all of them, and hopefully build a strong small council, and not one that's going to be so divisive. But of course, up north, Jon receives the letter from Daenerys and basically tells Sansa, like, hey, this is probably our best bet to get there. And of course, also paired with the letter from Sam saying there's Dragonglass there, it's even more incentive to go down and meet with Dany down at Dragonstone. Of course, Sansa's kind of fighting back, pushing back against that. Of course, speaking up in that, also that meeting that happens there in Winterfell, everyone kind of speaking up. But again, Jon's like, White Walkers, come on, let's get our shit together, White Walkers. But another great, powerful scene. Sansa was annoying me a little bit by speaking up, but it shows that she is a stronger character, and of course, Jon's like, hey, just be quiet. I'm letting you in charge of Winterfell. So she's going to be in charge there. Hopefully things don't go crazy there then, because Littlefinger, I guarantee, is going to try to sneak his way in and try and manipulate Sansa. But I think that since Sansa is a stronger character now, a stronger person, that she can kind of stand up to Littlefinger. Speaking of standing up to Littlefinger, that scene with Jon choking Littlefinger was just very satisfying. Basically, you lay your hands on my sister, you're dead. And a great scene. Meanwhile, at King's Landing, you have Cersei trying to unite all the houses, bring everyone band together basically against, again, this foreign power with Daenerys. Kind of bringing in, also seeing Sam's dad, Randall Tarley, and his brother there. And Jaime, of course, trying to appeal to him, saying like, hey, you got to do this, man. But he's like, I don't know about this. I'm a loyal person. I'm going to stick with the Tyrells. I didn't really like Randall Tarley too much. Of course, last season with Sam, kind of how he belittles him, but I respect him a little bit. Similar to, I'd say, like an Alistair Thorne, where you don't agree with him, you don't like him, but you kind of respect the character a little bit, that he has his honor to him, which I really appreciated. But then also in the crypts, you get Cersei down there with Qyburn saying, how are we going to take out these dragons? Like, well, what are we going to do about this? And they got this giant crossbow, going to shoot him right in the eye, it seems. If a dragon dies, the internet will explode. But down at the Citadel, Sam's down there, sees Jorah basically like, hey, can we help him? He's like, no, he's pretty much dead. I'll give you one night basically to kill yourself. That's what the Archmaester says. But then Sam finds this way to hopefully heal Jorah, but basically by picking off the entire grayscale infection, which is one of the more disgusting scenes I've seen on television, especially when it cuts away to that food scene up at up in Winterfell there. Pretty gross, but you felt the pain as he was ripping that off. You're like, oh my gosh, I do not want to go through that at all. Great scene though. Sam is having the more gross scenes this season, and if it continues next episode, I feel bad for can't remember the guy's name, but the actor, he's doing all these gross scenes. I'm sure it wasn't as gross filming it as it was on here and everything like that. But still, not the most pleasant sight to see. They made one of the more sweeter, romantic type scenes with Grey Worm and Missandei. And what a powerful, great speech from Grey Worm talking about fear and everything like that. How I didn't experience fear until I met Missandei. And what a great, powerful, emotional scene from between the two of them. A very just nice, beautiful scene, I'd have to say. Like, they could have played up the emotion a little bit too much, but it felt very natural, it felt very real, and of course you feel for Grey Worm a little bit in this scene and everything like that, and just a great scene. Again, also the reactions from Missandei, they weren't over the top, which I really appreciated. And of course, Arya, she's on her journey down to King's Landing, and she takes a stop in to get some food, and sees Hot Pie there, and they have a great back and forth and everything like that. And Hot Pie's like, "Oh, you're actually pretty pretty actually now." And it's just a cute scene between Hot Pie and Arya, a very sweet scene. But of course, Arya learns then that Jon is King of the North and that he's ruling back at Winterfell, and it just sparks this thing in Arya, like, I can go home and see them again. Fortunately, Jon's of course left, because that's what Game of Thrones does when people are about to meet. They go their separate ways, of course, but hopefully Sansa will be there if Arya does indeed return. But on her way, she also runs into an old companion in Nymeria. She comes back, and again, it's such a heartwarming scene. You're like, this is her finally reuniting, and then she goes away, and I'm like, no, I want to see Nymeria and Arya, but at the same time, it's like, I read that it was like a callback to season 1 when Arya says, like, oh no, she's talking to Ned, her father, saying, like, no, that's not me, I don't want to be this girl who sits at the table and wears these dresses and stuff like that, no, that's not me, and she says, no, that's not you, to Nymeria, kind of symbolizing that interaction between her and her father and everything like that, how she's changed, and how Nymeria now has her own pack, she has her own family, she has her own things that she needs to do, which hopefully, I think we'll see Nymeria hopefully again in the future, especially when it comes to the battle against the White Walkers. We're going to need every help you can get, and these direwolves are pretty big, pretty powerful. So hopefully we'll see Nymeria again. I want them to be together just because, but I understand that Nymeria's got her own thing going on. At first I was like, oh, maybe Nymeria's just like that. Maybe actually isn't Nymeria or something like that, but it appears that is Nymeria, and hopefully again we'll see her again. We end off the show on the ships with Theon, Alleria, and Yara, basically, and they're flirting it up, both Alleria and Yara. Theon's like, I'm out of here, basically. I love the part when he's like, they're starting to flirt, and he's like, he just gets up off the table, like, I'm out. But a funny scene, kind of their humorous one, and then all of a sudden, shit hits the fan. Crazy man Euron comes down on his freaking boarding plank, and he's like riding it down the whole thing. This guy's nuts. And he's so exciting to watch, though. I'm not gonna lie, he's a very entertaining character, but he's crazy. He's batshit crazy. But a cool boat fight scene. Pretty much the sand snakes are dead except for one of them, Alaria, and I believe it's Nym. I might be wrong on that, but the other sand snake, the one that used to have short hair, hair's a little longer now. But I kind of expected that the sand snakes would die, being as Jessica Henwick, who plays one of the sand snakes, is an Iron Fist in the Defenders and everything like that. So I assumed that she would die at one point just because of scheduling and all that. It's the way TV works sometimes, who knows. But a cool fight scene, and then we get Euron like holding Yara hostage, and Theon's like, hey, come on, save her. And Theon I was rooting for him. I was really rooting for Theon to just grow a pair, even though he doesn't have a pair, and just go and try and save his sister, even if it fails. Like, it just at least shows some honor, and Theon just bails and runs off the ship, and I was like, Theon, you're weak again, and I understand why he would do something like that, just because if I went through what he had been through, who knows what I'd be thinking. I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him to just do the right thing, save his sister, and it didn't quite come to fruition. Now it seems that Euron, what he was trying to actually go for instead of Tyrion's head, which I speculated I think last week, and dragons and stuff like that, seems it was more of the just obvious answer, which was Alleria, because she killed her daughter. Makes sense. And of course Yara was the added bonus. I think she's still alive. I've heard some conflicting reports of people thinking, no, she's dead actually. I haven't seen her dead, so until I see her dead, she's not dead. So hopefully they'll be bringing on those people back to King's Landing. And I'm really excited for next week. Are we going to see Dany, Jon meet up? That'd be pretty sweet. I try to avoid the next week things, just because I don't want to know anything. I don't want to see anything. I didn't watch that Comic-Con trailer that came out. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. Is Arya going to return and reunite with Sansa? That's another thing. Or is, after seeing that conversation with Arya saying that she's changed and everything like that, is she like, I'm a changed person, my family isn't anything, and I actually am no one, kind of reverting back to that House of Black and White thinking, and she can go actually back down south again? Who knows? Lots of possibilities to happen next week on Game of Thrones. I'm excited. We only got 5 more episodes left. We only have 5 left already, and it's going by way too quickly. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos each and every week. That is it, and I'll talk to y'all later.